Oh, Casey, don't exploit a personal tragedy with all that's going on. We're better than that. Speak for yourself. I'm going to talk about this messy, messy divorce that couldn't be happening to worse people. It's hard to explain to people who aren't from Texas how vile this couple is, but specifically Ken Paxton. I am not from Texas, but I cover it so often that I have a pretty long-standing relationship with Ken Paxton. Today, his wife, who is a state senator in Texas, posted this tweet and she filed for divorce on, quote, biblical grounds after 38 years. I'm gonna come back to that in a minute. And cites, in light of recent discoveries, that she's gonna have to move on. I'm not wholly convinced that Kim Paxton knew this was coming. Just based on the way it reads and the fact that they'd been separated for like a year, I think he might have been blindsided, which is great. In her filing, Angela cites adultery, which given Kim's past isn't surprising at all. But interesting that they had been living apart for an entire year. It's the recent discoveries that have prompted the divorce. Let me tell you the lore of Ken Paxton and how I first became associated with him. I was covering his trial. A whistleblower reported him to the FBI because Ken Paxton was using an Uber account under a different name, and he was Ubering to see his mistress, who was a former Capitol staffer. And he fired the guy, so then he's brought up on charges of abuse of power and bribery. It was like a whole big scandal. And his wife, who was a state senator, remember, had to sit through hearing all of the torrid details of his affair. And though they impeached him, the Republicans eventually acquitted him. He wasn't removed from his position after all of that. And she, the state senator, stayed with him after that. Remember, this was in 2023. They didn't separate until the summer of 2024. Also, you might remember him because he was the guy that was threatening doctors that were trying to help a woman out who was 20 weeks pregnant and needed a medical abortion. And he was like, I will throw you all in jail. Remember that? That was after a judge granted this woman permission, and Ken Paxton got in front of the media and was like, anybody that helps her, I'm putting them in jail. I'm taking their license. Between that and his assault on the LGBTQ, yeah, I mean, it couldn't have happened to a worse guy. So, 38 years of him and that kind of vile behavior, what the hell happened that made her say, you know what? Not anymore. And to use the word biblical grounds, you just know, like, there's got to be pictures, there's got to be video footage. Like, there has to be multiple people involved. I just know it. And you know what? We deserve to know all of that because we are living through 2025. This kind of scandal, it's needed, and it's justified. We should hear it. Oh, Casey, don't exploit a personal tragedy with all that's going on. We're better than that. Speak for yourself. I'm going to talk about this messy, messy divorce that couldn't be happening to worse people. It's hard to explain to people who aren't from Texas how vile this couple is, but specifically Ken Paxton.